Okay, so we are continuing the Star Wars Oreo crossover using artwork from Greg Hildebrandt. So as I mentioned in the previous one, they're doing a crossover where some Oreo cookies, and in the bottom of one of the advertisements, they had couplets of light side and dark side. This Yoda looked more like Return of the Jedi Yoda, and I was like, Yoda Darth Maul. Interested. So let's go through this. I was always looking at more from the movie aspects of things. If you disagree, that's what the comment section is for. Intelligence. I think that Yoda very much has this. So this is Return of the Jedi. So this is very much Yoda towards the end of his overall end of his life. So, but definitely has a tremendous amount of intelligence. Fine ability. You know, we've seen Yoda move quite quickly in Attack of the Clones, but this is definitely that's the Return of the Jedi look to him. You know, he's got a lot more of the gray hair, so he hasn't actually had to fight in a significant number of years. Strength, also give this one to Darth Maul. You know, when we see Yoda in Return of the Jedi, now if this is a younger looking Yoda and we're looking more of like Attack of the Clones, this becomes a vastly different fight. But this is an older Yoda who has spent a lot of his time being on Dagobah and very heavy in the dark side. There is some people who believe that's actually led to atrophying his body a little bit more. But I think just from a strength perspective, you're looking at Sabrak very much in his prime, Yoda being a Yoda who's very much towards the end of his life. Same with speed. Again, if this is Attack of the Clones era, this is a vastly different thing. I think that Yoda with his, I think it's Otaru style, I think given his size and his speed, well as the lightsaber and his overall dueling proficiencies back in the day, I think he very much gives someone like Darth Maul problems. And vulnerability. Both these guys are, you know, if I get hit, I'm going to bleed. But knowing that we actually do see Darth Maul wielding a lot more of his lightsaber, this is pretty much, you know, do I think that Yoda could do things with the Force to help protect himself? But this is still, if either one of them gets hit with a lightsaber or an attack, they're pretty much both of them are going to be damaged. Same with durability. This is Yoda again towards the end of his life. We know that in Return of the Jedi he actually does pass away. Even if this was Empire, you know, he still doesn't have enough physical capabilities to really become something that can really damage someone like a Darth Maul. Energy projection, yeah, this is Yoda. As I was first thinking this fight through, I'm like, okay, I'm like Darth Maul, if he can get close enough to hit Yoda, this becomes a much easier fight. Or if he can just keep on keeping on at Yoda, eventually Yoda's gonna, you know, just wear out in extended combat. And I was like, from a raw energy projection, we saw Yoda, you know, somewhat easily lift an X-wing. That's not something that we've really seen Darth Maul do a lot of. That being said, too, versatility. You know, we've seen Yoda be able to do enough things, whether it's, you know, mildly looking to the future, all the different abilities he could still do with the Force, still could do the communication throughout the Force. I mean, he just has a much wider depth of skills than what we saw Darth Maul do. And of course, Darth Maul is pretty much a villain in one movie for the most part. So he was just there to be a guy who looked cool and fought very viciously. He didn't need to use a lot of his Force abilities because he pretty much relied more heavily on the Force assisting his overall abilities and attributes and just how cool he was at fighting. X Factor. Again, I'm going to give this one to Yoda. We've seen the issues that someone like Darth Maul's had against a heavy Force user. We saw it when, you know, again, like in the Clone Wars, when he took on, you know, Sidious. And Sidious was able to make really easy work with him. We've seen how he had issues dealing with Night Sisters. Or the problem is that he also had to deal with someone like Ahsoka. So there's always been a gravitas with how cool Darth Maul is, but he's very much more of a Sith assassin. He wasn't trained tremendously well in the use of the Force and of Force-like abilities. You know, he was more or less designed to be, here's a really cool weapon that I can use to strike fear in the hearts of Jedi. Not someone who I think that Darth Sidious would probably have been like, this is the perfect apprentice. He's like, no, this is the perfect assassin. This is a person who I can train to do some heavy lifting and to go out and to sow the seeds of chaos and to kill people, but not someone I really need to worry about fully stepping up and taking my place. Darth Sidious was planning on being the last remaining Sith. So I think if these two were to get into a battle, I do think Darth Maul does take it. I think Yoda definitely has put up a decent fight. Again, this is more Return of the Jedi from the way he looks. This is Attack of the Clones. It's a vastly different fight.